Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 704. Now, today we are talking about how big goals, our big dreams, can actually cause us to fail in getting them, right? That's what we're really talking about. How big goals and dreams, because if we have them on our heart, and usually big ones are things are important to us because they're significantly different from where we are. So it's natural as to why we would want big goals and dreams. But the fact of having those big goals and dreams can create the failure of attaining them, right? So it's kind of fascinating, kind of interesting dynamic we got right there, because why would we dream it and then cancel it out? So the way that I want to break it down is this. Going back to what I said a few moments ago, a goal or a dream is usually significantly different from where you are right now, right? Because otherwise it wouldn't be a goal or dream, you'd just have it, and therefore it's a reality. It's no longer a dream, it's no longer a goal. You have it in your awareness, you have it in your life, you have it in your consciousness. It is there. So it has to be different. It has to be a contrasting experience. And therefore, there's going to be a gap there. Now, if it is a big goal and dream, the nature of it, if it is too big, and there's nothing wrong with big goals and dreams, by the way. I want you to have goals and big goals and dreams, because why not? I always go, well, if I have a goal and dream, why not go for it? The problem is if we start to self-sabotage. So let's break that down. Number one, it is good to have big goals and dreams. If that's on your heart, that's in your desire, that's what we want. The problem is if it becomes a problem. So how does it become a problem? Well, if the goal or dream that you have, let's just say you want to be able to create your own business, as an example, you can change it for anything. If your big goal and dream is to create a business, which is significantly different from where you are right now, so it's not in your reality, and maybe it's charged with, well, I want it to be turning over 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month, $1 million a month, whatever it is, right? That, when you think about that goal and dream, might be so significantly different from where you are that you're going to have a level of fear attached to it. You may have a level of scarcity. You may have a level of worry, doubt, lack of, right? So once you start to think of that goal and dream, it might be negatively charged with so much negative feelings and associations that you will then start to self-sabotage yourself. And by you, more often than not, it's the unconscious mind. It's the unconscious associations. So if you have a big goal and dream right now, let's just play with this. Invite it to your mind. And make sure it is big, right? Because otherwise you'll be like, oh, well, my goal is just to wake up at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then, look, that's pretty easy. Well, hopefully it is. But let's just say you invite a big goal and dream into your mind, into your awareness for a moment. And then as you think about that, notice what feelings are attached to it. Make a gauge, right? Like if you would say 100%, is of what that goal contains on an emotional level, on a thinking level, on a belief level, on a value level, on a representational level of that goal and dream. What percentage would you say is positive and negative? Because there's going to be a level of positive because it's a goal and dream. You want it, right? You want it to come into reality. But notice what percentage is positive and what percentage is negative. And negative will be containing things like negative thinking, right? So if it were about that business one, you might go, well, it's hard to create a business. It could be belief systems of the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough, not being capable, not being worthy of that money or that doing that. It could be like a level of the imposter syndrome, like who am I to be able to get that goal and dream? Because we may have been conditioned by our past experiences and our past, or the people in our life, or what society thinks of us. So just consider what kind of mindsets and thoughts you have about that goal and dream, what kind of beliefs you have about it, which may be negative. Think about the emotions that are attached to it. Is there any anxiety? Is there any fear? Is there any worry? Is there any scarcity? Is there any doubt? Think about all of those associations when it comes to that goal and dream. Now, it is okay, because it will be there, to have a small percentage of negative thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and associations around that goal and dream, because it is vastly different from where we are to where we want to be. It's a big goal and dream, and therefore it's natural. The real problem is when that ratio of negativity, so if we think of that goal and dream in our mind like as if it was an energetic ball in our hand, if it has a more, not necessarily over the percentage, so it doesn't have to be majority negative or 51% of negative, even it could be 25, 30, 40%, right? That could be enough to stop us go for that goal and dream. So it's okay to have the 1%, the 5%, and so on. But once it starts to kind of build up that memory and that emotion and that feeling when it comes to your goal and dream, that is when it becomes an issue. Because now you are like the weighing scales of what you want and what is kind of getting in your way is going to push you off target. If we were to go, as an analogy, on a trip together from, say, maybe LAX to, say, Hawaii, if we're just like 1 degree off target, we're going to miss Hawaii. Like, we're just not going to get there because we're going to start to just veer off, because the distance of the location accumulates that 1 degree off to be off target. So be conscious, and we'll get to what we can do about it soon, but be conscious and consciously aware of the feelings that you have attached to your goal and dream. Because if there is this unconscious ball of negativity, this percentage which is putting you off course, you will start to self-sabotage your experience. Why? Well, we don't want to fail. We don't want to look silly. We don't want to experience pain. We don't want to experience judgment. We don't want to experience the lack of. We don't want to experience missing out on that goal. So it's easier to do nothing. It's easier to play the safe game, the safe way, the safety mechanisms, the protection mechanisms. After all, that's why your unconscious mind is here. It's trying to protect you in case you might get hurt. And that hurt could be the fear of the failure, of it not coming into fruition. So be conscious of this, because otherwise you'll be self-sabotaging yourself. Now, there is another level to this, and we'll get back to what to do if there is a solution out there, but another level you've got to consider is this. Do you ever fall into the trap of, well, I'll just get there next week, next year? Right? We just kind of start over. We go through these looping processes that causes us to always push that goal that bit further out. You go, well, next year I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, there's always going to be a next year. As soon as you enter that year, you're going to go, well, next year I'm going to be a millionaire. Or I'm going to start next week. I'm going to start when the time is right. Because, once again, it could be these fears, this negative aspect that is kind of putting us off that couple of degrees. But I want you to notice, do you have a recurring thought process or a pattern where it's always being pushed outside of you, or it's always in front of you? Because it always will be. Next week is always going to be next week, because you're always in the present. So make sure that if you have these goals and dreams, to have a target date in your mind. Be as specific as possible. Now, if that goal and dream, if we cycle back a little bit, is overwhelming, what do we do about it? Well, there's a couple of things we can do. Number one, my first goal and dream for you, my big dream for you, is to let go of the limiting beliefs and those emotions that are causing you to be in misalignment. like that percentage, right? So you've got to ask yourself, what beliefs do I have about myself that are getting in the way of achieving this goal? Once you isolate that belief system, and it is unconscious, it can be hidden, but once you start to look into it, and because the reason why I say that, by the way, is we usually just focus on behavior. We usually just focus on the results, whether it's having results or the lack of result, which is in a way is still a result, right? We focus on the external, we focus on the behaviors that we're doing. But behind all of the results, behind all the behaviors that we do, usually comes down to a mindset, a belief system. So my dream for you is to isolate that belief system. Because once you let go of it, let's just say you had a belief that I really want this goal and dream. It's big and it's huge, but I don't believe that I'm capable, or I don't believe I'm good enough. Well, of course, that's going to create all the lack of the goal. But if you just turned it around for a second, let's say you and I were having a conversation. Maybe you work with me, you use one of my hypnosis sessions, you go into my program, excuse me, but whatever it is, I ask you, how do you feel? And you just said to me, well, Joseph, I know that I'm good enough. I know that I'm worthy. I know that I'm deserving. I know that I'm just like, I've got everything I need. Well, what happens when you think of that goal? You just go straight for it. That percentage will decrease because now you believe in yourself, and the belief within yourself, that inner faith, that unwavering faith, that unstoppable self-certainty, will then allow you to move forward into your goal. That is what we're really after. So really do the deep work, the inner work. Get help with that. It's hard to get out your own way. So work with someone who is a specialist in letting go of limiting beliefs or discovering them. That is one of the things I'd really want you to do. But if we put into what you can do yourself, the practical steps are this. If your goal and big dream is huge, don't focus on it, know it, become aware on it. And ideally, if you are to be aware of it, just be so charged with that positive energy if you can. Like I said, once you let go of the belief, then that will happen. But the other thing you can do practically is to break it down. And most people fall into the trap of going, well, I'm going to do this first. Once I do that, I'm going to then do this. That's wrong. What you have to do is start from the end of the goal, and that means you work your way back. If you were to imagine having achieved the successful completion of that big goal and dream, what would you have had to have done just before that? And then just before that, and then just before that. Work your way back until you start to find these steps that will then build you forward. And the reason why I say that as well is if you break it into these steps and milestones, you can just then focus, knowing the big goal and dream is out there, you can focus on the thing you've got to do. Because the first step is easy in comparison to the big goal and dream. It doesn't have, if you think of that energetic example of like, say there's 20-30% of negativity and fear, worries and doubts in the big goal and dream, well, that first step is going to be minimized. It's something that you can do because it's smaller. It's different. And the analogy I've always thought about, I don't know if I came up with this or someone else did, but either way, I can't remember where I got it from, is if you can imagine that you really want to be able to get into this wonderful hot tub, right? This wonderful hot tub. You get into that wonderful hot tub, but it's too hot. You're like, ow, this doesn't feel good. Well, how do you do that? How do you accustomize yourself to getting into that wonderful, glorious, big hot tub? Because you want to go there in this weird analogy. I probably did come up with it because it sounds silly. What I would do is next is I would build these other hot tubs with varying levels of temperature. So if you can imagine that you have that big hot tub, let's say it's the 10th one, that's where you want to be, and you're right here. Well, I want you to jump into the smaller one, which is just a degrees or two warmer. That's not hard compared to the end one. It's just a little bit warmer. Once you get used to that, you get into the next one, and that's going to be a few more degrees warmer. That's now easier because you've acclimatized yourself. And then you keep on moving from the third to the fourth, to the fourth, to the fifth, to the sixth, to the seventh, and you gradually allow yourself to become acclimatized to it. So when you get to that last hot tub where you really want to be, you go, this is now easy. Now, let's break that down into your goals and dreams. You have the big goal and dream. It seems so far away. It's too hot to handle. It's so overwhelming. We're self-sabotaging ourselves. So what do? Well, we build in these smaller hot tubs towards your goals. So it'll be these smaller steps. These smaller steps that once you succeed, gives you momentum. It gives you like a level of belief. And the reason why that's important is that end goal and dream that you have, you may not have belief. It's so far away, it's charged that negative energy, you haven't done all the work yet and letting go of the belief systems, which like I said, I highly suggest, that you have too much negative beliefs around it. But if you come up with these small steps that you do consistently, thoroughly, and you just obsess on doing the small steps with massive action, you get that first step done. What does that give you? Completion, achievement, success. Then, because that gives you belief, because that's what success is, that is what completion is evidence that you've done something, it builds momentum to then get the next goal. They're like these small micro goals which are leading you forward. So remember, break things down simplicity wise. So you start to get the evidence of self-certainty, because if you just go for that big goal and dream, you go, oh my goodness, it's too far away. But now I'm like, oh, I win here, I win here, I win here. And then when you think of that big goal and dream, because you've had these experiences of self-certainty and success, you're like, I've got this. This is going to be something that is easy. I now know, because if I look back, having made the changes, succeed in those steps, I have evidence that shows that I can succeed. So please make sure you go ahead and do that. So yeah, big goals and dreams are amazing to have, but notice your association to them. If that gives you negativity, it gives you scarcity, it gives you worry, it gives you fear, it gives you doubt, all of those things, you've then got to work on it, number one. Number two, you've got to be aware of, for example, the negative loops that you talk about. Remember when I said next year, next month, it's always out in the future. Bring it back to a specific date. In 2023, January the 1st, I've achieved X, Y, Z. Then work your way backwards. What would have to happen a week before that goal? What would have to happen a month before that goal? 2 months before that goal? 3 months? All the way back to this present moment. Then you start to hustle down and build that evidence. Get the self-certainty. Get the confidence and the evidence that it is possible. That way you do not self-sabotage. It just does not exist because you are just winning each and every time. The other thing you've got to remember, which we didn't talk about, is this. Every failure is not a failure unless you choose to buy into it. What do I mean by that? Well, to me, failure is just feedback. That's all it is. It is telling me, it's giving me evidence that I haven't done something the way I was meant to be doing it. So what do? I learn from it. So every no is going to get me closer to the yes. Once I learn from it, I evolve and adapt. I become more resilient. I become more persistent. I become more adaptable. So if you don't get the results straight away, it's okay, don't worry about it. Like, why should that be the defining moment for you? So many people have failed over the years. Everyone's failing all the time. And if that's a reframe which you don't quite get, my philosophy is just to suck less at doing something. We so obsess with being perfect that we've got to do it exactly the right way. Well, let's just change the frame of reference and just go, well, I'm going to suck less at doing this thing. Every single day, I'm going to get 1% that bit better, or suck less 1%. Because that happens, or when it happens, not only would you transform in 100 days, you do it far bigger than that, because the compound interest of that success or sucking less at something actually builds up. So that momentum grows, the interest grows. So get out your head that it's got to be perfect. Get out your head that failure means I've got to stop. No, just suck less at doing it. Doesn't it feel a lot better? It may not for everyone, of course, but as an energetic reframe, you're going to just go, well, I'm going to suck less at doing something. And that takes off the pressure. It means we don't go into perfectionism when it comes to that goal and dream. So please dream big. Please obsess over it. I'm really big into the obsession of a goal and dream because I'm building life into it. The other thing to also notice when it comes to goals and dreams, it's okay to sacrifice things that you do in order to get it. Just make sure that, so you don't look for balance, look for harmony. Harmony kind of moves in and out of form. Balance is just one line. You're not going to get anywhere just living in balance. There's going to be times where it's going to be different. It's going to be challenging. And that's okay. It's part of success. It's part of the evolution. The stresses that we've gone through in life have forged your human experience to this date. The things which have allowed us to adapt to our environment. So embrace them. Look forward to the learning. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this that will allow me to get safer, bigger, and better, and closer to my goal and dream? For when you do, that is when success happens. So, I hope you enjoyed this kind of mindset upgrade of not allowing the goals and dreams to self-sabotage you or to make you feel stuck. Instead, utilize it, break things down, and start to assume the responsibility in making it a reality. It's all on you, and I always say that's the good news because that means it's in your power, it's in your control. So with that, my friends, like I said, I hope you enjoyed that. Of course, you can go ahead and download our app, which is at freehypnosis.app. You can listen to all these free episodes in there. Well over 700 episodes now, 350 hours of free content pretty much. And you can listen to all the hypnosis sessions in there as well. You can unlock the whole app for a one-time amount right now. And you can listen to it in the day. You can listen as you go to sleep. It changes it so it kind of fades out as an extension and fades out. And of course, if you're enjoying my work in any single way, please go ahead and leave a review on the App Store. Just go to your favorite app store, say Google Play or the Apple Store. Type in my name, type in Hypnosis with Joseph. It should come right to the top. Click on it, write a review, and that just means we can help the world that bit more in every single way. I've got big goals and dreams. I'm excited for them. And if you can be a part of those too in helping the world, then that is what we go ahead and do. So I appreciate you for that. And of course, if you're a professional and you want to get those big goals and dreams more than ever before in a quick like lightning speed, we let go of all issues within 8 weeks. Feel like an imposter, feel like you're not enough worthy, you got big goals and dreams. If you want to do the deep work with us as an expert and work with my team, you go ahead to josephclough.info/talk. You go ahead and book a time to speak with the team, and then we go ahead and see if we can serve you. Really discuss exactly what's happening, what's getting in the way, where you want to be, and then if we can make it a reality, we'll let you know, and maybe we will invite you to our program. There is a significant investment, but look, we get the results no matter what. You'll get 100 times back for the rest of your life. That's how I see it. It is just a pure profit way of being in your life because you're releasing what no longer serves you. You're achieving the inner peace, but also achieving the abundance that comes with getting those big goals and dreams. And to me, that is so profound. It is fully customized to your needs. Custom hypnosis, your name on it, created by me. lots of profound one-to-one group stuff. It is amazing in every single way, and it's a very small group. So that is josephclough.info/talk to book a time to speak with us. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to speaking to you on a future one. So you have a great day wherever you are in the world, and just know I believe in you. I want you to succeed. So let's go ahead and make it a reality. Many thanks, and goodbye.